What up, everybody? It's Just a Fight, and you are tuning into the inaugural podcast brought to you by Pile Drivers. Because Jessica Andrade, scariest woman on the planet under 135 pounds, fight me about it, please. We're just gonna kick this thing off fight companion style because, hey, I've got knowledge in a knee injury, roughly a decade of martial arts experience, and nothing better to do on this Sunday. So let's see where this thing goes. I've got my time set up for 5 minutes of the very first round. I'm looking at Jessica Andrade make that nice kissy kissy face. And we'll be beginning this fight in 3, 2, 1, and begin. So both fighters come out in touch gloves in the center of the octagon. Much respect was shown between both of these fighters in the lead up to this fight. Although I don't think anybody expected too much ill will from either fighter going into this. A reoccurring thing you'll notice in most of Thug Rose Namajunas' fights is a jab. Lightning fast jab. Also stiff when she needs it to be. Not afraid to throw the jab in combination. Not afraid to feint the jab. Overall, she probably has the best jab. Probably the best lead hand overall in the division to Thug Rose Namajunas. What Andrade really brings to the table in this fight is that explosive power. If you'd asked me this time about a year ago, I would have told you Claudia Gadelha is the most explosive fighter at women's 115 pounds. Andrade swiftly taken that title. Andrade with the bomb rush, but she gets caught coming in. Part of the problem with Andrade, because even when you win a fight, no fights are perfect, was she followed Rose most of this fight. As you can see now, Rose is moving backwards, changing direction, circling both towards and away from the power of Andrade. Makes it a really difficult time to predict where Rose is going to be, and quite frankly, makes it hard to cut the cage off and get in front of Rose. But see, anytime you're chasing your opponents or standing still in front of them and slowly trying to wade forward to close that distance, you're going to eat straight punches, as you can see. This is where everybody expected to see success from Andrade. She immediately lifts Rose. But Rose successfully uses the Kimura grip to defend herself. This, though, would mark the end of the fight later on. Oh, beautiful slam from Andrade, and recovering right to the armbar is Namajunas. She actually had that armbar much more extended than I thought, but not a tight grip. Andrade is able to escape. Lots of rhythm steps from Namajunas, not something I'd actually, until about a year ago, had started paying attention to. A rhythm step, as defined by A Million Styles Boxing, is when a fighter bounces back and forth to reset themselves and to prepare themselves to throw the next strike or begin the next exchange. A rhythm step is something that can be heavily punished if you know when to take advantage of it. If you watch the feet of Namajunas, in between exchanges, she'll usually bounce in and out and in, and then begin. The footwork for Namajunas was so beautiful in this first round. Such a difficult target for Andrade to hit. Andrade stuck following Namajunas around the octagon. This kind of movement is more of what Andrade needed to do. See how when Rose sidesteps, instead of walking towards her trying to get closer, Andrade sidesteps alongside Rose, placing herself where Rose is going to be instead of where she was. Beautiful knockdown from Rose, chasing for the finish, but Andrade recovers and gets a butterfly guard. Namajunas looking to pass, getting to half guard, raining down, ground and pound, not very much, as Andrade gets to the sprawl, standing in the front headlock position. Namajunas with the knees or front kick, I didn't see what it landed with on the way up. The jab from Namajunas. Beautiful. I've always found it interesting that Jessica Andrade is billed as a Muay Thai fighter every time she fights. She's more of a boxer. Like, I say as she throws the low kick. She's always reminded me more of, well, I guess if you were to call her a Muay Thai fighter, more of like a Joseph, not even a Joseph Valtellini because he throws a lot of kicks. She reminds me more of an American, like, heavy boxing style Muay Thai fighter more than any other type of Muay Thai fighter, which is why I always lean towards calling her a boxer. And the first round ends along the fence. And as I don't feel like covering corners at this particular time, I'll allow you a moment to sync up with me at the beginning of the second round. 5 minutes on the clock. Beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. Andrade looking to touch gloves again. You can see often the mentality of different fighters and the way they come out for the rounds. Rose coming out in a fighting stance, ready to continue the fight. Andrade looking to show respect. Typically, the fighter looking to show respect is not the fighter in the lead. At least, in my opinion, in the fights I've watched. Constant footwork from Namajunas, ducking under the rear hand. The straight punches from Namajunas were a thing of beauty in this fight. Lots of pivoting lead hooks helped her break the front line and help keep herself off center, giving Andrade a difficult time as Andrade consistently chases Namajunas in this fight. The chasing is a large problem in a lot of fighters who don't necessarily have a very big background in ring craft and the understanding of the dynamics of a fight. When you chase your opponent, you're affording them opportunities to counterpunch, to double the effectiveness of their strikes, as they have both the force they're hitting you with and the force you're running onto their fist with. This is why cage cutting or ring cutting is so much more important. By cutting the cage, as ironically enough Andrade does there, she's circling in front of her opponent instead of following her, stepping into the place where she was. Andrade wants to place herself where Namajunas is going to be. That way she can grab a hold of her and end this fight in the fashion that she does. Spoilers. Rose Namajunas looking decisively more stationary this round. I'd imagine a percentage of this is due to the low kicks of Andrade, but also due to the amount of steps that Namajunas has taken in this fight. The more steps you take, the more energy you expend. The more energy you expend, the tireder you get as a result. And the last thing you want to be in the middle of a cage fight is tired. Beautiful combinations from Namajunas as Andrade gets to the Thai plume. This would mark the beginning of the end of the fight. Namajunas looking for a standing guillotine, a standing Kimura grip, a double wrist lock, where she's then lifted by Andrade and promptly slammed, pile driven onto her head. Let this fight be a lesson to any grappler out there looking to submit their opponent, or at least begin a submission on an opponent on the feet. If your opponent has the opportunity to lift you, and they have the strength and the explosive power required to lift you, you bet your life that they are going to try to lift you. In response, you cannot stay anchored to your opponent. It doesn't matter what weight class you're in. Heavyweight men may be able to knock each other out with their hands, while 115-pound women can't. You know, it could knock a 115-pound woman out? The planet Earth. As Rose Namajunas so violently discovered on this beautiful Beautiful evening. Andrade in literal tears in her result. Namajunas was lifted over the head and then slammed on the back of her head and upper shoulders. Now, as this was a pile driver, this is technically an illegal technique. But, in my opinion, I'm not sure exactly why this is considered a legal technique in this situation. This is just my opinion. Since Namajunas was attempting a submission at this point in time, this is more considered an escape from Andrade, regardless of the result. For those of you who don't know, Rose Namajunas was also coming off of a neck surgery before this fight. By staying anchored to your opponent when lifted in the air, you are asking to be slammed. For all you other grapplers out there, if you are hunting submissions on the feet, never forget, if you are trying to break your opponent's limbs, and they can lift and slam you, they will lift and slam you. But it's just a fight. What do I know about them?